Hello everyone. So in this video I'll be talking about the Swiss Army knife. This is a Swiss Army knife, a Victorinox, it's called a Tinker. This isn't the original knife that I had back in 1986, but this one I bought later in about 2009 or something at Fry's Electronics. I lost the one that I had before, but it's exactly the same one. This is a Swiss Tinker. The one that I bought in 1986 cost me about $20. I bought it in some small gift store for about 20 bucks when I was 11 years old. They didn't ask for any ID or anything. I just gave them $20 and they gave me this, and that was it. And it was a pretty common Swiss Army knife. This knife, the Tinker. It was on television shows like MacGyver back in the 1980s, and there are many different types of Swiss Army knife. They had the Tinker, they had the Huntsman, they had the Swiss Champ, which was a much thicker knife with a lot more tools. But for this one, you have the knife, which is here. You have a flathead screwdriver. This could also be used as a bottle opener. I do use this to open up beer bottles from time to time. When I do drink beer, I don't really drink beer that much, but when I do drink it, I do use it. There's a small backup blade, which is here, I guess, which is useful if anything happens to your main blade. I think this is a can opener. The way you use it is you do this and you move it forward, and you would open up a can. Pretty useful when you're camping or something. This knife is useful when you go camping. And I did use it a lot when I went fishing and stuff like that. Here's a Phillips head screwdriver. It's very helpful and useful to use. A lot of you could use it to assemble stuff when you're camping. And this thing right here, I think this is called an awl. I never really use this. I don't know what this is actually for. Not very useful for me, but these tweezers are useful. I used them a number of times when I had like splinters on my hand. You know, when I had to like cut firewood and stuff, sometimes you would get splinters in your hands, and you would have to use this to get the splinters out, wood splinters. Toothpick, I use it sometimes, you know, after I eat. After a meal or something, I would use this toothpick when I'm camping. And a lot of times people would use this, connect this to their keys. Because there's a key ring right here. People would connect this to their key ring and carry it around. It was very common for people to do that back then. A lot of people would have Swiss Army knives on their keychains. But I never really carried mine in my keychain. I just carried it in my pocket. I didn't like to put this near the keychain because it would scratch up the finish on the blade. That's one thing I didn't like about that. But a lot of people did carry this on their keychain. It was very common back in the 1980s for people to do that. But for me, I didn't do it. I didn't want to mar the finish on the knife. So this knife cost me about $20 back in 1986, and today this thing retails for about maybe $30 to $40. Same knife. The design really hasn't changed in since 1986. It's probably almost the same. In the past, let's see, the past 30 plus years, it's the same basically. Not much has changed. The finish is the same. Everything's the same pretty much. And this really hasn't gone up a lot with the price of with inflation in my view, because back in 1986 a gallon of gas was about maybe 75 cents or something like that, 80 cents. Today in the state where I live, a gallon of gas is about $5.50 to $6 a gallon. But in different parts of the country, it's probably more like $4 a gallon or something, or $3.80 a gallon. But it's definitely more than 75 cents a gallon compared to today. So definitely the price of gas went up almost 4 times. The price of this did not go up 4 times. The cost of living overall went up more than that. I guess about the same as inflation in gas or energy, right? Back in 1986, you could buy a regular sedan, like something like a General Motors, a GM Cutlass sedan, or something like a Toyota Camry for about maybe $8,500 or something, or $9,000. Today, a car like that would cost maybe $29,000 or $32,000 or something. So the price of cars went up more than this, obviously. So this is one thing that inflation didn't really touch. You could buy this exact same knife anywhere. You could buy it on Victorinox's website. You could buy it on Amazon. You could buy it on eBay, Mercari, wherever, for about the price that I stated, maybe around $30 to maybe $40. And it really hasn't gone up much. And it was this knives like these Swiss Army knives. There were, I mean, all types of Swiss Army knives MacGyver used. It was a television show that was a very popular television show back in the 1980s. I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid, and he would always use different types of Swiss Army knives. He would use the Swiss Army knife Tinker sometimes. He would use the Huntsman sometimes. He would use the Swiss Champ sometimes to make various types of contraptions to get him out of trouble, basically. And he would craft all kinds of stuff. He would make do all kinds of DIY stuff, or do-it-yourself stuff. Make improvised weapons, improvised tools to get him out of trouble, basically. He didn't have a gun or anything. His main tool was a Swiss Army knife. So that was, I guess that would really helped in Swiss Army knives getting a lot of sales back then. The actual Swiss Army knife was, I think it was invented or released back in 1897, and the person who invented it was Karl Elsner. He's the one who invented it, and it was used as it was used for the Swiss Army as an officer's knife. The original knife had of course, the blade, the backup blade, which I showed you. It had the awl. It had a wine cork, wine cork opener, and 2 other tools. I don't know what they are exactly, but you could see it in the picture. That's how it looked like. It wasn't as elaborate as the Swiss Army knives that were released later. And it was actually during World War II or after World War II, some U.S. soldiers a lot of U.S. soldiers bought Swiss Army knives from Europe, and they brought it back to the States. And then I guess it became very popular, and a lot of it was exported to the United States, and people bought a lot of them, and it was a very popular product that people would give as gifts and stuff like that. It was also very utilitarian in many ways. So the more elaborate ones, like the Swiss Champions, in terms of thickness, it's probably about double the thickness. They have some other crazy looking Swiss Army knife. It's much thicker than that. The thickness is about that thick, if you can believe it. It's like the biggest Swiss Army knife in the world. I don't know how that could be of utility to anybody. Something that big, it wouldn't even fit in your pocket. It's not very convenient, but they do have something like that. That's what I want to share with you today. If you have any thoughts, you could leave in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.